In this video, we'll continue talking about different types of advertising agencies. This was started in part one, and we simply broke the number of agencies into two videos for you to access. This should make the videos shorter and easier for you to view. So I want to continue from part one. Now, the next one we want to talk about, continuing on, is in-house. Now, in-house agencies are referred to in terms of the organization's own advertising department. So it depends on the size of the company. Larger companies may have their own advertising departments. This may be closely related to the marketing department, but larger companies may be able to afford to have their own advertising department. Depends on the range of products they make, depends on the size of the organization. They may, however, use some sort of hybrid model in which they consult other agencies, outside agencies, for advice, and they may look at, for example, we discussed in the last video, the a la carte system, where they go to various agencies for ideas and for support and buy in as they require. Some organizations prefer this as it saves costs. It saves on the resources that have to be committed to advertising. They're able to cherry pick what they want exactly, and they put it together in-house. Sometimes organizations have sufficient skills in-house to be able to undertake the exercise from start to finish. But even if they haven't got that, they're able to go to outside agencies and acquire particular expertise as and when required. But it does represent some saving for the organization, and that's what makes it attractive. They're also, of course, more in control, and they're better able to coordinate the whole activity. In addition to which, of course, the company knows the product, and they know the developments they're working on in terms of the product and the innovations they're considering. And this can all enhance the type of advertising it undertakes, the channels in which it makes its advertisements available on the radio, television, in particular magazines, perhaps in trade magazines. It depends. But the company knows the product best, and therefore they are probably in the best position to assign a channel to their efforts. The in-house approach means all profits are retained within the business. There's no need to pay agencies. I say all profits. The activity should, of course, generate a profit in terms of increased sales, better image for the organization, more sustainability in the market, better, more ability, I should say, to deal with competitors and international competition and so on. And that should generate more profits long run, greater stability for the organization. And of course, that additional benefit may in part be due to the fact that they're able to do this in-house with their own expertise, but perhaps buying in services as and when required. So it's there's no big fees payable to agents. There's just the fees for particular advice or particular services as and when required. So in a sense, more is retained by the organization by doing it in-house. There are also digital media agencies. Well, these have come into existence due to the growth of new media and the digital era itself. We now know that advertising is extremely complex as an industry. Traditionally, we would have thought of advertising in terms of magazines and newspapers and publications of that type. Then perhaps the radio would have some advertisements made, commercial radio, commercial television as well. But now we have the internet, And advertisers now realize that if they place an advertisement on the internet and the particular site on which they place their advertisement is very popular, they will have exposure perhaps in many countries. That makes it very attractive to advertisers. Indeed, Google is one of the most successful companies in the world, and it has made the bulk of its money from advertising. So digital media is an important outlet for companies to advertise and promote their products. A short advertisement appended to a very popular video on YouTube can mean that the product will have exposure in many countries throughout the world. So they're getting global exposure for perhaps a very small sum of money. And that makes the internet a very attractive way in which products can be promoted. Sorry. Now, these type of agencies have specialist skills and expertise in online marketing, interactive kiosks and interactive television. So there are specialist agencies who deal with the internet and deal with digital marketing. They are agencies who have very high skill levels in terms of programming ability. They understand technology completely. They understand the ways in which it can be promoted, but they also understand the artistic requirements and the imagery that has to be used in order to make it effective. Digital media agencies develop new and innovative approaches to advertising and perhaps online database management. They're able to perhaps capture information about the people who view the advertisement through asking them to register an interest, or indeed register just their details, and in order to be entered for a competition or some sort of promotional advantage. And they're able to collect a database of interested customers. Now that is a big advantage to the organization, who will suddenly have feedback from customers perhaps all over the world related to the product. Now that's a big jump forward in terms of advertising. Media independence. Well, media independence are organizations that buy media space and time, which they then sell on to the agents. So they're like wholesalers. They buy space on the television, they buy space on newspapers, and then they sell this to the agents. So they're living on the commission they get from the agents. They want to fill the space that they've bought, but in so doing they will charge a commission, and that's how they generate a revenue for themselves. The client or advertising agency will develop strategic plans for media placement, then seek media buying services for arrangements for media time and space. So the advertising agency, this buying agency, will buy placement in newspapers, in magazines, will even buy slots on the radio or on television, and will then seek agencies to buy that space from them. They, of course, will charge commission to the final buyer. But they exist, and they facilitate the market, because the owners of the newspapers and the magazines and the television and so on, they want some security in knowing that the slots will be filled. So if they can sell on bulk to this type of middleman, and they in turn sell it on to the final agencies, then in a sense everyone's a winner, because the owners of the media have some guarantee that they're going to get their slots filled, and it's in the interest of the media independence people to ensure that they can sell on what they've just bought. And also the agents, of course, know where to go to try and find appropriate slots for their advertisements. So they are facilitating the market. The main purpose is to plan, schedule buying and monitoring of a client's media schedule. So they plan and they schedule buy. They want to know what the clients want in terms of the slots that are more appealing to the clients. Are the slots, for example, on television after 9 o'clock, before 9 o'clock, early evening, daytime? They want to know when these slots are attractive to the clients, and they will then attempt to buy those slots and sell them on to the agents who are working with the final clients, with the companies who are perhaps making the products and trying to sell the products. So they will sell on the slots to the agents who are working with the companies, or if the company is doing it in-house, we'll sell it on to the company directly, and in that way facilitate the market. We also have direct marketing agencies. Direct marketing agencies focus on creating and delivering campaigns through direct marketing strategies. So this is more direct. They try to create campaigns and deliver campaigns through direct marketing strategies. In other words, they try to find out what the clients want. They do market research on the clients, find out what the clients want, what they're looking for, and try to match up the campaigns with the feedback they get from this research. So the campaigns are very focused. The agency is responsible for delivering campaigns through direct mail, telemarketing, online and offline media. So the agency takes on responsibility for promoting the product to the clients, to the final customer, I should say. Take on that responsibility and try to find what channels are most effective to, in a sense, hit that section of the population. Now, it might be through their market research that they find direct mail is the most important, or giving the people a phone call. If that's approved by them, if they have already surrendered their telephone number, if it's cold calling, it can be counterproductive. But it could be online as well. It could be that the people like visiting certain sites. So it may be that approaching the owners of those internet sites and asking for some space to place an advertisement may be the most appropriate way forward for marketing purposes and for advertising purposes. These agencies maintain a database with mailing lists. This can be constructed to meet the client's target market. So essentially these agencies try to collect information very similar to what a marketing department would do. They try to collect information. Sometimes the databases are extremely large and they may cover many different products or interests in many different products. But by filtering the database, they're then able to go to producers and tell them they have so many people on their database who have an interest in this type of product, and in that way gain custom for themselves to promote the product. Other communications agencies, well, there are a range of other specialist agencies that provide services for particular areas of marketing communications. These are agencies that provide the following services. For example, agencies that just deal with sales promotion. Sales promotion can be anything from providing people in shopping malls, trying to promote the product, It can be billboards. It can be simply getting awareness of the product through whatever means is deemed appropriate. It has to match the product. It has to match also the requirements of the producers of that product, who might want it to be might want their product to be seen as high end of the market. They may want to see it as a product that they just simply want to move, shift it in the marketplace at all costs. So this will constitute a part of the brief to the sales promotion teams. The agencies may also provide public relations expertise and be able to make press announcements on behalf of the company and be very polished in terms of the way they present their client and the way they present the product indeed. They could look at sponsorship requests and sponsorship deals and be associated with the correct channels again, or the correct types of sponsorship that the companies may wish to become involved with. Perhaps not all types of sponsorship would be appropriate for that particular company. But look at events management and exhibitions also. It's a specialist area. It's not simply a case of just turning up to an exhibition and putting up a stand. The positioning of the stall at the exhibition is important. The way it's presented, the lighting, the personnel, the training that's required for the personnel, the types of products, the layout, the information that can be passed out. It all needs to be properly planned so as to maximize the impact of the event. And of course, market research is critically important to these agencies. They must understand what the customers want, the type of customers who are interested in the product, their disposable incomes, their lifestyles, where they live, what they're interested in, what their ambitions are, where they go on holidays, the types of lives they lead. And all of this will feed back into the style of advertising that's most appropriate to address that particular sector of the market. It could be direct marketing. It could be trying to contact the customers directly. But in terms of advertising, it removes the onus on advertising and replaces it with marketing, where the person contacting the customer has to be briefed, trained, they have to be contacted, consent has to be received, there's transport costs, there's search costs, there are all sorts of issues involved in this, and it almost flies in the face of advertising agencies and the work of advertising agencies. This is a much more direct form of contact with the customer, and could be argued it's not even appropriate in our discussion here, but it crops up in the literature, so we inserted it. So those are some of the advertising agencies and the types of advertising agencies that we may encounter. It was important, or it is important, to go back to the first video and look at the types of agencies discussed there and add that to the types discussed in this one to get a fuller picture of the various types of agencies and what they do. And it's important to have a clear understanding of not just the importance of these agencies, but exactly the activities and the differences between them. That's the source that was used throughout the preparation of the two videos, and that's all we're going to deal with here. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.